Hey, welcome. Oh, somebody's signing on now. Welcome, Hillary. Okay. Hello, my dear. So good to see you this morning. Okay. All right. So come to sit. And today we'll do some yin poses, and we'll start with some pranayama. Um, but I really want to focus on calming the nervous system because the nervous system and the subtle body are really closely connected. So we can do that with some breathing practices. So I like to do that first, and then we can come into the poses and start to clear any obstructions that are in the fascia and the deep connective tissue so that then the energy can flow through the meridian system. So it's kind of like we're giving ourselves a little bit of an acupuncture treatment with the pressure of the actual poses themselves. So it's great if you have props, blocks, blankets, like the Mexican blankets that we like to use for yoga are nice because you can fold them up and they get nice and thick. Um, Bolsters are good. I just love a bolster. Lie around on it and what's something else coming? Okay. But you don't need to have any props if you don't have any. And also pillows work, whatever you have around. And I try to make the classes really adaptable for those who don't have any props. So don't feel like you have to, but it is nice to have. Okay, so let's start sitting and just arriving in our space. And you can close your eyes for a moment, start to notice your breathing. And be aware of your physical body. So often we're trapped in our thoughts and our logistics of our day and planning and thinking about the past and the future. But take this time to ground in the here and now. And it's really when you're aware of your physical body that you are in the present moment. Set that intention for yourself. Stay in your body throughout the practice. And now you can bring your hands to prayer at the heart and set your own personal intention for your practice today. You can dedicate it to a person or just some idea that you're working with. Like I talked about enthusiasm in one of my recent emails. That's a nice intention to set, or anything healing, anything that calls to you. So give that intention a moment to arise spontaneously. And then set your intention while you focus on the heart. And then we'll offer it up with an Om. So let's do an Om together. Take an inhale. Om. Okay, and you can release your hands and open your eyes. We're going to start today lying on our backs. So come into constructive rest pose. So this is lying on your back and with your feet on the floor with your knees bent. So you can kind of pick your feet up a few times and shift around a bit just so you're comfortable. There's no alignment cues for constructive rest pose. It's just deeply soothing to the nervous system. It can be particularly good if you have any low back pain, but overall calming to the nervous system. And so now you're in your constructive rest pose, CRP. Now bring your hands to your belly. So the middle fingers are in line with the navel. You can kind of fan your fingers out. The pinkies are pointing down towards the pelvis. And then you have your thumbs are in line with the bottom ribs here. So the hands are just fanned so you can feel the entire abdomen. And now in this place, you can close your eyes so you can really kind of key in on the abdominal region. Start to breathe deeply and notice how the belly rises on the inhale and then the navel falls to the spine on the exhale. And following this pattern, so relaxing the whole abdominal region so that in the inhalation, the belly can rise and you can almost really make the belly come out like you're blowing up a balloon. And then on the exhale, really allowing the navel to drop to the spine. And you can even kind of push that last 30% of air out of the lungs because we tend to hold on to that stagnant old air unless we consciously complete the exhalation so that all the air comes out. So practice this for a few rounds, just feeling the inhalation and exhalation, filling the lungs completely, and exhaling fully, focusing on that abdominal region. Take 3 more deep breaths here, feeling the stomach area. Well, now moving just the hands, bring your hands to the front of the ribs. So you can either have them just lying comfortably, the entire palm. I'm going to get up and show you just at the front ribs like this. Or if you want to really feel the whole way around, you take the J of your thumb and index and you wrap it around the side ribs. Okay, so you can hold the entire side ribs in that J of your hand. And the hands won't be lying flat, the palms will kind of be out. And this is just so you can feel the back body. Okay, so either of those is fine. If it's uncomfortable at all to feel all the way around the ribs with the J of your thumb and index, then just have hands flat on the front of the ribs because you want to really be comfortable. So that kind of overrides the hand position. Okay, and now again, the inhale, the belly rises, and now this time you feel the ribs expand out into the hands, front and back of the body. And then when you exhale, the ribs come back in and then the belly falls. So you're adding the expansion of the ribs into this deep breathing with awareness. Feel how those movements are linked. The belly rises, the ribs expand on the inhale, and then the exhale, the ribs contract and the belly falls. Ribs expanding not only into the front of the body, but into the back of the body because our lungs go 360 degrees around. And so you're filling up the back body as well with the air you're breathing in, infused with prana, chi, the life force energy. Maybe already you start to feel the nervous system relax and getting into that broadened space, consciousness, awareness, and softening around the whole body, one breath at a time. And take 2 more breaths like this, feeling the ribs. And when you complete that last exhalation, now bring the hands up to the sternum. So you're going to have your hands at the chest, and you can have the thumbs are kind of right beneath the collarbone. You can feel this kind of groove here, the thumbs fit in, and then you can have the fingers just overlapping at the sternum. So you're feeling the chest now, and you're still in your constructive rest pose. So now feeling the chest, deep inhale, the belly rises, the ribs expand, and then the chest rises up and out like a lever into your hands. And then when you exhale, the chest falls, the ribs contract, and the belly falls. 3-part breathing. And feel how those three movements in the body are just flowing and linking together. Feeling how the breath is shaping the body. And you may even start to notice a natural pause that occurs organically at the top of the inhalation, just for a moment, and then again at the bottom of the exhalation. Just a slight pause, just as the breath is turning around. See if you can notice that pause as the exhalation turns into the inhalation, and the inhalation becomes the exhalation. There's just a moment there in between the two where you're neither coming nor going. Three more breaths. And then you can let that go, release your arms alongside your body, and just release any control of the breathing. Let the natural breath resume, your body intuitively knowing just how to breathe on its own. And now let's extend the right leg straight and bring the left knee in towards you. You're going to hold either the back of the left thigh, or you can take like a half happy baby and hold the outer edge of the left foot with the left hand. But whenever you do a kind of happy baby situation, you want the ankle above the knee and the sole of the foot shining up towards the sky. So if you have to compromise that alignment in order to hold the foot, just hold the back of the thigh instead. And if it feels too intense on the right leg to keep it straight, you can come back to a bent knee and put the foot on the floor. Okay, and so just experiment a little bit at first with those different variations and see what works for you. And then once you get something that feels just right, that you can sustain, but also that you feel a sensation happening, those two things, then just settle in. Settle into the stillness of the pose. And it's within this stillness that we can start to meditate on the sensation. And noticing how the longer we stay in the pose, the more the sensations come and go, they change, they shift, they move. But we're not moving our bodies, so things are happening without us doing anything. We're just being. You may feel kind of a dull achiness, or just a moderate to mild stretch, but anything that's any pinching or sharpness, you want to stay away from that type of sensation. Okay, now we're going to take 3 deep breaths and use those deep breaths as a messaging system to the body that we're going to come out of the pose. So mentally preparing first to come out, using those 3 breaths. And then once you're done, you can let go of the foot or the thigh. And then you can bring both feet to the floor. Okay, so have your feet about the width of the mat apart, and the heels can be a bit away from the seat. And gently swish your knees side to side like windshield wipers. Oh, just gentle, nice counter pose for that half happy baby. Okay, now we're going to come right into the next pose, staying on the same side. So now bring your left ankle on top of your right thigh in figure 4 position. Okay, and you want to keep the left foot flexed here. So keep that ankle flexed on that leg, and that protects your knee. Okay, and now you can start to lift the right leg towards you. So if you can only lift it a little bit, then you can put a block or anything under your foot to just prop the foot up once you start to feel the opening in the left hip. Or if you can bring it in a little closer, maybe interlacing your fingers behind the right thigh will work, or even around the shin if you want to go really deep. But always remembering that we only want sensation at about a level of 4 on a scale of 1 to 10, because you want to leave some space in case the sensation intensifies as we stay here, because we will be staying in each pose for a few minutes. And if it's too intense right off the bat there from the beginning, then the chances are you'll have to kind of come out of the pose, and we really want to stay still. So that's why we come in very moderately. And after a minute, if you feel like there's nothing happening, or it's opened and there's no sensation, then you can always go deeper. But we want to avoid having to come back out of it. But if you do get a cramp or something that requires you to back out of the pose, then by all means, you have to do that too. And check in with the space between your eyebrows and just soften all around there. And let's take 3 deep breaths. Prepare to move. And slowly and gently coming out, you're going to release the interlace. Keep the left ankle on top of the right thigh and bring the right foot back down to the floor. And now with the left ankle on top of the right thigh, let your right knee drop over to the right. So it's carrying your left foot with it. And then maybe your left foot can reach the floor, or maybe you take a block and you can put it under that left foot for support. Or alternatively, if this feels too intense of a spinal twist, you can also just stack the knees and take a standard supine twist instead. This alternate version with the figure 4, this is bringing a hip opener into the spinal twist. And now you can extend that left arm straight out from the shoulder joint. And if your neck is totally comfortable and relaxed, you can turn your head to the left. If you have any neck tension, keep your head neutral. And it's always nice when you practice yin, if you have like a nice big window to look out of. I have this nice picture window in front of me. I always like to look up at the leaves of the trees and the sky, but you can also close your eyes throughout the practice. And as you release, you may notice emotions or even memories arising, which is totally normal because these are all stored in our physical body. And so oftentimes when you get deep into this fascial release, things that have been stored a long time emotionally in the memory, this can start to come up. And if that happens for you at any point, instead of trying to ignore it, the best thing to do is let it come up and allow it to exist. And once the energy has passed through, it fades away. It's motion, energy, and motion. So if we just allow it to come up and through, and then it will release. But it's when we try to ignore it or deny it, repress it, that it can't go anywhere, and then it gets trapped in the body and causes tension, pain, even chronic illness. Take 3 deep breaths. And very slowly, when you finish that last breath, so gently and slowly guide the legs back to the center. And you can uncross. And now extend your legs straight. And just feel the hips sink into the earth. And notice that difference from left to right, feeling the left hip compared to the right hip. Since you've done the work there already. And now we'll pay attention now to the right side and balance it out. So start to bend your right knee, and this half happy baby pose you can hold behind the right thigh with the hands, or you can hold the outer edge of the right foot with the right hand. So find your appropriate half happy baby with just the right amount of sensation. And start to feel wherever there's tension. And you can send the breath there. And just thinking about an area as you breathe sends the energy to that area and helps it to soften. What tension really is resistance to gravity. So imagine you're surrendering to gravity.
Relax the space between your eyebrows and soften your jaw. And take 3 deep breaths, mentally preparing to move. And gently and slowly, you can release the right foot or thigh and bring both feet to the floor. And you can spread the feet the width of the mat and take windshield wipers with the knees side to side. And bring the feet in hip width. And now cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Keep the right foot flexed and start to lift the left leg in towards you. So coming into each pose mindfully without expectation of where you're going to end up, because side to side, the body is different. And that really becomes apparent in these asymmetrical poses. And so you don't want to force yourself into something that your rational mind thinks you should be able to do. So just because the other side went to a certain point, don't assume that the second side will do the same thing. If you feel the mind becoming busy, draw the attention back to the sensation of the body. What are you feeling? Where do you feel it? And how is it changing the longer you stay still in the pose? And take your 3 deep breaths to prepare yourself to move. And then you can let go of the leg and bring the left foot to the earth and keep the right ankle at the left thigh. And now let the left knee drop to the left. And so the right foot is carried down towards the floor. You can put a block under the right foot, or you can bring the right foot to the floor. Maybe the left hand rests at the right ankle. If that feels like too much, uncross the legs, stack the knees, and take your standard supine twist. And now the right arm extends straight out from the right shoulder joint. Then you can turn your head to the right, or you can keep the head neutral depending on how the neck feels. Don't make any last adjustments to get it just right. And then set your intention to stay still. The inhalation finds the tension in the body, links onto it, and then the exhalation, the tension rides the breath out. Continue to surrender to gravity. And 3 deep breaths. Excuse me. Very slowly bringing the legs back to center, and then gently uncrossing and extend the legs straight onto the floor and lie in this starfish pose for a moment. So legs spread out, arms spread out like you're a starfish lying on the beach. And notice now the balance from side to side in your hips, and more relaxed in that entire area around the hips and pelvis. And most of the poses in yin are focused on the legs, the lower body, the hips, the low back. And that's because this is all part of your root chakra and your sacral chakra, which are about grounding, grounding to the earth and grounding in your physical body. And you have your root chakra at the base, and then you have chakras in your feet. And so the energy travels down the marrow of the legs. So you can free up any blockages there with this practice so that you can more effectively ground yourself. It's so important to be grounded. Okay, so now let's roll over and come onto your belly. Okay, and now you're on your stomach. And stack your hands. Place your forehead at the back of the stacked hands. And take some breaths here. And this is crocodile pose, just lying on the belly. And it's a very mild back bend, just to simply lie on the belly. Stretches the front of the body, the hip flexors, the psoas. So even this pose you can do, especially if you've been sitting or driving a long time, really restorative to lie on your belly like this and release the hip flexors and the abdominal area. Okay, so now that's kind of a preparation. Now we're going to do Sphinx pose. Bring your arms in front of you and your forearms on the floor and the palms of the hands on the floor. You're going to prop yourself up like a Sphinx. So the elbows are just slightly in front of the shoulders. And you can kind of wiggle yourself into it. And you want the chest to be coming out through the shoulders. So you may need to kind of shift your hips forward a little bit. And then you find this kind of pulling back with the hands isometrically and get the chest to come out through the shoulders. Okay, so now if this feels like a lot, you can also take a blanket or a bolster and you can prop yourself up. And this is more of a restorative variation. And you can kind of hold yourself up with the bolster instead. That's an option. But if you want a little deeper expression coming up and propping yourself up just with your forearms. And what's nice about a lot of the names of the yin poses is that they're very visual. So you can come into the pose and close your eyes and then start to see yourself as the name of the pose. So particularly with this one, I just love to really see myself as the Sphinx, right? Because we all know what that looks like. And it's so big and made of stone, it's super still and grounded, noble and regal and mysterious. So you can close your eyes and just find that stone-like stillness and grounding, unmoving and strength. And you can even visualize the sand surrounding you and the sun beating down as your ancient stone body resides. I'm going to stay here for another minute, but if it feels too much, sometimes the back bending can be intense for people because it's kind of unfamiliar to the body. Often you can come out of it at any time and come back to crocodile with your hands stacked and your forehead at your hands. Otherwise, just stay with me. Okay, let's take 3 slow, deep breaths. And then gradually come down. Release yourself to the floor really slowly and stack your hands and rest your forehead at the back of your stacked hands. And you can swing your hips side to side. Just loosen that up. Okay, and now half frog pose. So taking the inner line of the left leg, so the inner thigh, the inner knee, the inner calf, and dragging it along the floor with a bent knee. So you're coming like the back of um, the leg is like the back leg of a frog. Okay, and we're just going to do one leg at a time. And the rest of the body either stays lying down, or if you want to add some intensity, you can come back up to that Sphinx pose with the upper body, or you can prop yourself up with the bolster, any of those variations. You know, sometimes people don't feel this when you do one leg at a time. It's still actively doing something, but those are some options to intensify. And if you wanted to really intensify, if we're going to do both legs, you can actually do both legs at the same time and come down like this if you really aren't feeling it. But then you're going to stay in it for a really long time because we're going to do one leg at a time. So be prepared for that if you choose to do both legs at once. But I recommend just doing the one leg. And then if you want to make it a little stronger stretch, try bringing the knee up closer towards the side of the body. And focus on that inside part of the hip and the inner thigh coming towards the floor. And whatever's comfortable with your head. You can have stacked hands under the forehead, or you can turn your head to one side. And take your 3 deep breaths here. And extend the left leg straight alongside the right. And then you can rock your hip side to side. Okay, and now the right leg, the inner line of the leg comes along the floor. I'm bending the knee, bringing it up towards the side of the body, the side of the torso, as high as you need to feel the sensation. And then settling in and feeling gravity pulling on the hips. Hips just melting towards the earth. Your whole body heavy. And prepare to move with 3 deep breaths. And then extend that right leg alongside the left. You can rock the hips side to side. Plant your hands under your shoulders and come up to tabletop. So all fours. And then very gently let's do some cat cows. It doesn't have to be your full range of motion, just moving the spine. So press the floor away, tuck the tail, tuck the chin, rounding the spine. And then drop the belly, open the chest and look up. And then if you want to add some movements in any other directions, whatever feels good with the hips in circles, if you like, just loosening the spine. And then let's come to sit down. And then extend your legs in front of you. And have your feet about hips distance apart. I'm going to do caterpillar. And so some options here. So you can do this with no props at all. And it's just a very passive forward fold. And you can let the feet go out or turn in however they want to go. You can also have your knees bent. So if you have your knees bent, it's nice to roll up a blanket, put it under your knees for some support. Okay, and then you can fold over there. You can also put a bolster or a blanket up against the belly. And you can drape yourself over the bolster or blanket. Or another thing you can do with the bolster is you can put it in front of you and just have it support your head. This is really nice. That's why I love bolsters. You can do a lot of cool things like that with it. And this kind of pressure at the third eye area, it's really soothing and calming. But I'll often do this with no props at all. And then you can just hang. And any kind of forward fold is going to inspire introspection, like looking inward, inward turning of the mind toward the inner worlds, the self. And so see if that may be coming up for you. You're folding in on yourself, looking in at yourself. You know, this idea of like navel gazing is often is portrayed as negative, but it's actually uh, the most that you can offer another person is to work on yourself. And the breath can be natural in all of these poses, but it's always nice to take some deep breaths and just find the tension and go a little deeper. Okay, and let's take 3 deep breaths. Gonna come out soon. And very slowly, always coming out slowly. The body's so vulnerable after these deep holds. And then you can just pause at the top and observe, and then counter pose a few different ones. So you can choose. You can just lean back, the legs straight and open the chest, lean the head back, kind of like a half Purvottanasana. Or you can come into reverse tabletop and lift the hips up, or windshield wipers with the feet wide apart and swishing the knees side to side. You can do all of them, but it's a good opportunity to follow your intuition and listen to what works for your body. That's so important above all else. Okay, and then after you've completed your counter pose, let's come to sit. And now we're just going to do this very short Tibetan yoga practice, and this helps to spread the life force energy. So now that we've cleared all these channels and our root chakra, and we have more evenly flowing energy, now we're going to spread the energy around with this little short practice of self massage and breath hold. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a big breath and you're going to let the belly get big and come out when you take the breath in. And then with holding that breath, you're going to lift the pelvic floor and find kind of like a pressing down from the heart. So you're kind of trapping the air in here. Okay, so that's the breath. And then we're going to do this self massage on the breath hold. And then when we exhale, it's with a ha breath. It looks like this. It's kind of like a lion's breath. You stick out the tongue and exhale through the mouth. Okay, so we're going to make that breath. I'm going to lead you through some self massage. We'll do the first half of the sequence first, and then we'll exhale, and then we'll do the second half. And then we'll do the whole thing through on one breath, second time. Okay, so you can have your hands at your belly to start and just feel the belly rise. Inhale, hold the breath, clap the hands, rub them together, massage your face, top of the head. Keep holding the breath, back of the head and neck, shoulders, low back, rubbing firmly, and then exhale, ha breath 3 times. Take a pause. All right, and then we're going to take another breath into the second half. Okay, take a breath in, make your vase breath. Hold the breath, clap, rub your hands, rub your left leg 3 times. Now, the third one, throw off the negative energy, and then the right leg, same thing, 3 times. Then throw it off. Chest, ribs, left arm top and bottom, right arm top and bottom. 3 ha breaths. And then we'll do it one more time the whole way through. Right, this time on one breath hold, so I'll move faster through the sequence. Sitting up, take a deep inhale and hold. Up, rub, face, top of the head, back of the head and neck, shoulders, low back, left leg, right leg, chest, ribs, left arm, right arm. And pause a moment and sit and feel the life force energy flowing through the body. Calm mind, relax, get awake. Okay, now I invite you to lie down and we'll take a few minutes of rest. So, a few ways you can prop yourself up. You can just lie flat on your back, or maybe blanket under the knees could be nice. Or I like, if you do have a bolster, I often like to put the bolster
vertically in line with my spine. And do this, and you can even then use a blanket under your head. Okay, get really nice and comfortable. And then just completely release and let go. Let go of any effort. And now this is so important because you're allowing that whole practice to integrate into your mind, your body, your nervous system, your energy body. And so as you lie and do nothing but rest, lots of work is happening. That's so important to take this time. Just let it all go. And the more you let go, the more the earth rises up to support you. And take rest, Shavasana. And take some deep breaths. Now you're welcome to stay here and rest for as long as you like, so you don't have to get up. But if you're on a schedule, we are at time. I want to give you this space to come out of your resting pose. And intuitively moving again slowly. So, however you come out of your Shavasana determines if you carry those benefits with you. So, coming out really slowly and mindfully and listening to how the body wants to reanimate itself. And when you're ready, you can come to sitting. And then we'll close with the Shanti Pataha, which is a peace mantra and a prayer for all beings. So we dedicate the practice and all of its positive benefits and energy that we receive to benefit all beings everywhere. And you can join me for Om at the beginning and Om Shanti 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 at the end. Take a deep inhale. Om. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Sarve Santu Niramayaha. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschit Kapag Bhavet. Om
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. Om, peace, peace, peace. Well, thank you so much for your yin practice this morning. Namaste. Be well. Take care. Thank you. I'll send out the recording